Hi guys. So I decided to talk about why the so utterly famous water propagation is not probably the right way to go for a lot of plants, especially philodendrons and money plants and these easy to watch propagation videos like this or like this. Instagram, Facebook, social media, everything is filled with those plants that are kept in water. You can see the roots and it grows, right? One or two leaves, it grows on its own. And then what they don't tell you is that it doesn't work out as well as it should in real life. So for plants like philodendrons and pothos, what happens is when you grow the complete root in water, it has very soft and weak roots. So this is something that some of the fellow gardeners have finally started talking about, and I'm so happy for that, a detailed post on that. So what she says is that water propagation has gained popularity because it looks good. You can see the roots and it grows so beautifully and you feel like the plant is progressing. But finally, when you put in rooted roots back into the soil, most of the roots rot away. So you'll see that water cuttings have a lot of failure rates, if you've actually tried that out, because the plant is starting to grow roots that are accustomed to soil absorption, not to stay in water. So they say that water roots have been created in fully liquid environment, meaning that they are very tender and they are not made for soil. So basically, when you transfer them to soil, you're essentially starting from scratch. Can you imagine? What's the point if you're starting from scratch, right? So I think this is one of the things that I have been talking about a lot. If you've seen my earlier videos, you've seen me using a nice tool called pin. So what I usually use in philodendrons in general is that I use a pinning method. So for example, to make a plant bushy, what I would do is I would just pin them. I don't know if you can see, do you see a pin here? So the pin will actually enable it to grow roots from here. So you put a node, stick it in the soil and put a bobby pin on top of it. So what happens is the node will start, once you start watering and everything, the node will start growing roots as well. So it will start getting bushier and bushier, right? So that's the idea. But the greatest advantage of this pinning method that I also talked about in another video of philodendrons is that you don't risk losing your plant. It's literally a no risk propagation. Take the mother plant, put it in the same pot or a pot nearby, fill with soil or coco peat media, and pin the root point with this and water it normally and it will automatically grow roots. So the roots that grow there are accustomed to soil media from the beginning, which is why the success rate for me has been pretty high for that. And worst case scenario, just pinned it. You open the pin and take the plant back. So you're not wasting a plant. And number two, if you have a successful propagation, it will grow large leaves. Water propagated pothos or philodendrons, they start having smaller leaves and the growth rate is much slower, and it takes a lot of time for it to grow the entire roots, get pot bound and all of that, and then finally it starts, I guess, if everything goes right. I'm not saying it's not possible, it's of course possible because they're very resilient, so they can start from scratch completely, but we have to stop giving water propagation so much credit. For guys like Sansevieria and all of that, water propagation is the best. And also soil propagation works pretty well for them too. But for other philodendrons and other things, generally water propagation is not something that I would recommend. Soil propagation is the best, I would say. So yeah, that's what she talks about. And but if you still want to see a plant in a jar like this, I mean, it looks cool for a little bit of time, but it's not something that is useful. For example, this is the philodendron, right? So I regret cutting it up and propagating. Although it was successful, uh, I think it was not that successful. I would say semi-successful, because I lost 2 of the cuttings. I took a lot of cuttings, and out of 5 or 6, I think I lost 2, which is 2 or 3, I think. So I think there are a couple of them right now. But the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to propagate it directly in soil or moss media or something like that. So I'm going to pull it somehow. I'm not sure how I'm going to do that. But if you see the lower leaves that are propagated in water, they have a very small size of leaves even after fertilizing and everything. But the original leaves still are large, right? So I'm giving the same amount of light and everything, but those guys are taking insane amount of time to grow. So I think this is just an observation that water propagation does work sometimes with some failure rate, but pinning method is the best, hands down the best. You don't lose the plant and you keep on propagating. If it works, it works. If you don't, you have a plant which was pinned. That's it. So that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching, and I guess I just want to talk about that. So see you in the next video. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and give it a thumbs up if it was at all interesting.